Pascal, you are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high, cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold up, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up. Weekdays, catch us live, somebody. Let's go.
Good morning. Good afternoon and good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Pascal Show. Welcome to the chaos. Welcome to the good times and everything else underneath the good times. Hope this show finds you in good spirits, because another day above the dirt is always a blessing. Let's not forget that. Wake up. Time to wake up. Get that coffee in you. That much needed coffee. I don't know about you guys, but I needed it today for sure. Definitely needed it today. So hopefully you guys are good. Coffee's helpful. I will say that. Coffee is definitely helpful. Before we get into everything, because there's a lot that's been going on, there was some that I talked to you guys about last night, late last night. Wasn't able to get over here and give you guys that information, but I wanted to make sure you heard those updates. It's pretty crazy. Yeah. Don't forget to cover them tacos, okay? Cover them tacos, all right? But nonetheless, I tried to give you guys some information last night. It looks like some of you guys got to see it. We are going to be discussing that again. We're going to be going into diving deeper into it. We got some documents we're going to be looking at here very, very soon, very, very shortly, and then some. And we may talk about some other news that's going on in the world. You know, we're going to Lord of the Rings it, okay? We're going to be going to different realms and whatnot. We're going to get some information today that I think we all need to know. Some stuff that's going on in the government, some stuff that's going on with this D4vd case. It is pretty crazy. We got to get into the conversation, so let's get into it. So please do me a favor before we get into it. Hit that like button down below, crush it, do what it do. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on these other platforms. If you are watching on these other platforms like Facebook, X/Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, Twitch, Kick, I'm on all them mugs. So make sure you hit that follow button or that subscribe button, whatever they ask you to do, to make sure you are linked in and attached to that platform. Don't forget to subscribe right here on my YouTube channel, right here, The Pascal Show. Go over to The Pascal Show clips as well and subscribe over there as well too, because there's clips from these live shows that I'm doing that I'm putting over there so you guys can see those, just bite-sized, smaller, more digestible videos that you can just watch. If you just missed a moment or want to relive a moment, you can get those things over there as well. So please do that for me. Hit that notification bell on both platforms. Set it to all so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload, because it is random. Just keeping it a bean. It is random, okay? Hit that join button down below. Become a member. Support the channel if you can. If you want to support even further, go check out my Patreon. It's going across the bottom of the screen right now as we speak. Go check it out. Become a patron if you can. And another way you can support is checking out pascalmerch.com. pascalmerch.com. We got some really great stuff over there, so go check it out. pascalmerch.com. Okay, guys. Oh boy. Okay. What an interesting turn of events yesterday. One thing I'm very happy about, okay? One thing I'm very thankful for is that we got some more clarity with this case. One thing I was really worried about when they said, there's going to be a continuance. They're going to be looking at another hearing or, another court date on May 12th. And then there's going to be the possible preliminary hearing on the 26th of May. I got a little disheartened. I felt a little defeated, because, of course, we want to know exactly what the hell is going on, right? We wanted to understand the full scope of this situation. And of course, we wanted to see if they're going to drop any tea. Let's keep it a bean. I mean, that's kind of why we're all here. We're all inquisitive mother lovers. We're all nosy as hell. We those nosy neighbors, though, that you want on your side, right? We those nosy neighbors that you want, that you're thankful for when the time is right, right? So I know when they said, oh, things are going to be sealed, they're holding back on all this information. I know a lot of us were very upset because it's like, dang, we want to know what happened here? Who's connected to this situation? Who could potentially be connected to this situation? Did he operate alone? Did he do this all solo dolo? Or was he getting help from somebody else? Where did he put her? If he did put her somewhere, where did he put her? Did he really freeze her? Did he bury her? What actually happened here? And we were all going, damn, we're kicking dust and going, oh, shucks, we're not going to get to know exactly what's going on here. Only to find out, well, some info did come out, indeed. And I got to be honest, not what I expected, although I kind of expected this, if that makes any sense. Mimi, you ain't wrong. I do need a fart sound effect. There's a lot more sound effects I need to get. I'm going to get into it. I'm going to work on it. A lot of times I'm running in here, putting everything together and going live. You see what I'm saying? There's not a whole lot of time I spend in here. I get in here, I get the job done, and I get out because I got a life to have, But maybe I'll do some, I'll try to find a way to throw in some more sound effects in the near future. Okay, just to make everybody happy. It's all love here. It's all love. But that's a good point. I do need a fart sound effect because this is all BS. Okay. All of this is BS. The turn of events yesterday was BS. But we should have expected that to happen. Right? That turn of events. Not the part of them saying, we're sealing everything from everybody. You ain't going to see a damn thing. You ain't going to know about nothing. That's kind of jacked up, in my personal opinion. Thought that was really messed up. Really, really messed up. Because we all want to know what's going on, right? But one thing's for sure. They did put out some information. And this information changes everything. It most definitely does. And if you say, nah, it doesn't, okay. And for those of y'all who's sitting there going, he didn't do this, he innocent, shut up. That's all I can say. 2 words, very simple. Both one syllable. That's how simple it is. Shut up. There's no way that he didn't do this. I'm sorry, y'all. I know some of y'all are like, no. Falling apart mentally. I get it. I get that part. I fully understand the people who are sitting there going like, free D4vd. Waiting for the free D4vd t-shirts and the free D4vd teams that are going to be outside the courthouse that will most likely be getting paid. Kind of like Diddy. But in actuality, this man did all of this stuff. And the information, now again, a lot of these claims are claims, but there's evidence behind those claims. Now I don't know if they have the timeline correct. I don't think that the prosecution has the timeline 100 yet. Okay. I think that there's still, it's not perfect, right? But they got something pretty solid on this mother lover's ass. Okay. He is deep fried. He is beyond cooked. He is beyond just lightly toasted. Okay. He's beyond broiled. Beyond flame broiled. He is beyond all that. He is absolutely freaking screwed. The information that they explain here is pretty wild. Now, again, you see the title. It says inflatable pool. Yes. We now understand where those pieces of blue plastic came from. Now, a lot of people were wondering, even myself, I'm like, well, maybe he bought a new chain maybe bought a new saw blade or something of that sort. And a lot of them have that blue adhesive, protective adhesive when you first purchase a blade. And maybe he's so dumb that he didn't take off that adhesive, that protective blue cover, before he used the blade to do the unthinkable, what he ended up doing. And at this point, I don't think it's alleged anymore. Okay? If let's just say, if he did not take her life, if he did not unalive her, he definitely is the one who took her apart. But all the information that they give us shows gigantic breadcrumbs, okay, leading to his home, to the point where he took her life. Now we're understanding that this guy, he and Celeste were in an on-again, off-again relationship. That's the way I've basically summarized this, okay? That they were in this on-again, off-again relationship for a long time. And I think he played with her head. Here's another thing, too. Let me take this off the screen for a second, okay? Because we already know what happened. We're about to go into the paperwork. We got the documents. We're going to take a deep dive into the documents and see what's going on here. It's not much. It's only like 9 pages, but we are going to thoroughly go through it. But here's my theory. In fact, you know what? I'm not going to give you my theory right now. I know, it's so diabolical of me. So diabolical. I'm not going to give you my theory yet. I'm going to give you my theory in a second. Why, you may ask? Because there's things that are being said in the documents that I think are very, very important. Okay, now, just so you guys know, I'm going to give you guys a brief summary of what's going on. And then we're going to go into in deep dive into it, okay? Shall we? So again, we understand that D4vd is a piece of trash. That's it. That's the show, everybody. Thank you so much for showing up. Yeah, he's cooked. Don't forget to hit the like button, hit that subscribe button. You know, go home. Go home. You know, I'm kidding. The show's not over. We're far from done. Okay, this is only just begun. Okay, but here's the thing. We now understand that they started talking at the time that she was as little as 11 years old. Okay, 11. She wasn't even 12, y'all. 11. And I'm telling you right now, 12 is already bad. Now they're saying 11, and there are reports, or at least rumors, of her being as young as 10 years old. 10. Okay? Absolutely insane information, right? Absolutely shocking. All right? Now, what is going on here is that after like about a year or two later, that's when he started having relations with her at 13. So she finally became a teenager and he started having relations with her. Now, what's really crazy about this is that somehow, some way, the parents found out. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm believing. That's how I surmise the situation. That's how I'm summarizing this whole thing up in my own noggin, okay? That the parents found out while she was like running away, you know, going back and forth. The parents been known that he was, of age, legal age, and that she was in a relationship with somebody who she should not be in a relationship with, right? But she keeps running away. So again, we hear about the email that is sent to the manager of D4vd. D4vd's management team gets an email basically saying, hey, man, we know you got Celeste, man. By the way, she ain't even of age, man. And she needs to get her ass back home. They didn't really say it like that, but they basically said, she's not of age. This is their daughter. They want to know where she is. Bring her home. The very next day, she is at the front door of her family's home. But this didn't stop there. He went out of his way. He went to great lengths to go and pay another dude, pay a student of hers to go and drop off a burner phone to her so that he would have a direct line to Celeste. Paid a guy over $1,000 to do so. That's the photo that we all saw where he's holding a brown bag and, D4vd's looking like he's holding a wad of cash. This is exactly what they were doing at that time, right? Pretty insane stuff. This relationship continued on. They were having a very, very physical relationship, for lack of a better term, an extremely illegal relationship. All right? Illegal. But it continued to the point where they were having conversations about pregnancies, about terminations, about plan Bs, etc. You know what I mean by terminations. Now, my theory is that either she was pregnant at one point or that there was a pregnancy scare. So much that they had conversations about plan Bs so that, okay, well, we made that mistake that one time and that scare, that pregnancy scare, or I was pregnant type of situation. We need to make sure we have some plan Bs with us so that we continue doing what we're doing, which is just disgusting, but we at least have that plan B just in case things go awry. We have that as a backup, right? Insane. Moving on, they break up in November of 2024. In 2024, that's the thing that I'm very curious about, because from November 2024 to when she is last seen in April of 2025, what actually happened there, right? That's the thing I'm kind of curious about. I think we're all wondering what the F happened here, right? We got all these questions that are going on. They were still in an on-again, off-again relationship, right? They full on were having an on-again, off-again relationship, all right? Which is absolutely crazy, okay? But during that time, he kept stringing her along. And I think he was stringing her along because he knew for a fact, well, one, he kept having relations with her, okay? During this entire time, he kept on having relations with her. But then at the same time, while that whole thing is happening, she is just getting more and more, intense. She's falling in love even more and more, right? As he's promising her the world and lying to her, etc. It's just all bad, right? Long story short, okay? Now, here's the thing. Actually, you know what, guys? Give me 2 seconds. My dogs are tripping, all right? Let me just take care of them for 2 seconds. I'll be right back. Just give me like 30 seconds, all right? Sorry, y'all. Those dogs are tripping. Okay, I'm back. Okay, so like I said, all right. Sorry for the delay. Thank you so much. Dogs were tripping for what reason, I don't know. But moving on, all right? Long story short. Oh, my weather's fine in my neck of the woods. Everything's fine. Trust me. I'd be like, yo, there's a big, possible tornado stuff coming on. I'm just going to give you guys the heads up. I'd be doing that right now, okay? But moving on, as I was saying just a second ago, all right? Obviously, was an ongoing relationship between these two. Even if they broke up, maybe on paper they broke up in November of 2020, November of 2024, right? But the question is, they were still in contact with each other, and how would she be in his home getting unalived in 2025 of April? Because that's several months, right? And what I think, like I said again, what I think is that he kept stringing her along. Maybe they were friends with benefits. Maybe it was something like that. Maybe he just kept talking all kinds of, he's talking a big game. He's sitting there going like, I need you, blah, blah, blah. You're my muse, so on and so forth. You know what I mean? And she just keeps falling for it because she's young, impressionable, and in love. And she gets dragged into this mug, right? Pulled in more and more and more and more and more to the point where she's so in love, she's so enamored by this man that all of a sudden, out of nowhere, she starts getting possessive. She starts watching every move that he's making. And I think he was also stringing her along because he knew what was potentially going to happen, the inevitable, what was going to happen in the future. He was going to get in trouble. She could literally have this. She had leverage over him, meaning he did a crime, continuously did a crime. She had that leverage and that power over him as well. So that's why he kept luring her in, I'm sure, so that she wouldn't go off and start talking, etc. Right? So then finally, after she's like, I've had enough, you're going around gallivanting with other scallywags. I don't like this at all. You're talking to other girls. I have a problem with that, so on and so forth. I'm about to rat your ass out. I'm done. You're a monster. And what did he do? He talked her into getting into an Uber somehow. Maybe promised her the world. Maybe played the same notes that got her to keep coming back from the time that they broke up to the time she got mad. Those several months, he probably said the same thing over and over again that got her to bend to his will. So much that she got into that Uber on April 23rd, drove over an hour and a half to his home, only for her to be attacked within 20 minutes of her walking in through that front door of that mansion on the Hollywood Hills. I really think he just played the same notes. He probably sugar baby, love bombed, said a whole bunch of things. You're my muse. I need you, blah, blah, blah. Come on, come up. We'll talk. We'll chop it up. Everything gonna be Gucci. Like I've said before, come on over. We'll have a drink. We'll chill. We'll have a great time. And we'll talk. And she's like, okay. Because at this point, she's already still very much enamored, very much attached to this man. Man, by the way. And so he got her. And then within 20 minutes, as they say in the paperwork, which we're going to look at right now, he attacks her. And then there's more. We got 2 chainsaws, a shovel, an inflatable pool, body bags, laundry bags, you name it, that he actually was buying under a different name, an alias, I guess, a fake name, so that stuff wouldn't come back to him. Oh, and the thing that SF Investigates talked about before, which was the burn cage. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that burn cage exists. That burn cage was connected to him buying this under this fake name, which is insane. All of this so that it would not come back to bite him in the ass, which doesn't make any sense, though. If you really think about it, he puts it under this alias name, yet it's still showing up at his front door. Police could just literally, you know how dumb he is? He's so dumb. Think about it. I think it was like a Victoria something. I forgot the name of it. We're going to see this in here, okay? But think about this. He used a fake name, but used a real address, his address. You don't think police were going to come back? It was like Victoria Mendez? Yeah, it's Victoria Mendez. Thank you, Santonio, okay? Santonio. Buenos dias, Santonio. So it makes you wonder. You don't think that they would have done the reverse math and just said, well, there is no Victoria Mendez that lives here, and y'all were still receiving these packages. It's not like you said return to sender. So what are you talking about? Right? He's that dumb. He that dumb. Okay? He dumb. Welcome to the world that we live in now. He thinks he's being slick by using another person's name, a fake name, but using the exact address in which he lives in. And remember, everyone knows that he's been dating this girl. Everyone knows he's been with this girl. She goes missing. Her body is found. They're not going to finally put those two and two, pieces together. Like I said, he dumb. He dumb. He should have thought of this before. Well, he shouldn't have done what he did. Let's just be real. But he didn't think about all of this thoroughly, which I'm very thankful for, because obviously it gets us. It gets us closer to finding him guilty as hell, right? Him guilty, right? So let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at this paperwork. This is absolutely crazy. So we're going to go straight into the background facts, all right? The dismembered body of 14-year-old Celeste Rivas, the victim, was discovered in front of, in the front trunk of this Tesla, which we already know, on the 8th of September. The vehicle had been towed 3 days prior to this actual address, okay, from 1405 Bluebird Avenue, which was parked approximately 400 feet from defendant's home at 1368 Doheny, place in the Hollywood Hills. Surveillance video and other evidence confirm defendant was the last person to drive the vehicle on July 29, 2025, before he left Los Angeles on a concert tour. So he was the last one to drive his ride right before he disappeared, to go on tour. And her remains were in that car. So it wasn't anything crazy like somebody else drove the car and that miraculously, so that all of a sudden out of nowhere, Celeste's remains just miraculously materialized. Oh, no. No. Not at all. Okay? Not at all. All right? This guy is very dumb. All right? Very, very dumb. Let me get the super chat here really quick. And I know I missed a membership. I'm sorry. I don't remember how many members it was, but thank you so much. And I don't know who did it, but thank you. Okay. Thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it. To be fair, he looked dumb. No critical thinking skills. No, he dumb. He just super dumb. Okay. D4vd dumbass. Indeed. Okay. D4vd dumbass. So moving on. On September 8th, 2025, the manager of the tow yard where the Tesla was impounded noted the strong smell of decay and the presence of flies coming from the actual vehicle. He notified LAPD, all right, who determined the Tesla was registered to D4vd through departmental resources. Okay. Yes, indeed. Sue. Okay. Yeah, D4vd dumbass indeed. Okay, thank you so much for the super chat. Big time, dumbass. Okay, moving on. Let's see. Okay, through departmental resources at the tow yard, LAPD detectives opened the Tesla's front storage compartment and observed a black cadaver bag covered in insects. And no one ever saw this stuff? Just that alone, on the road or, on the street, or even in his garage. We got something for you guys. We're going to talk about that here in a second as well. So inside the bag, they discovered a severely decomposed head and torso, a plastic garbage bag beneath the large cadaver bag contained the dismembered arms and legs. However, the victim's ring and pinky fingers on her left hand had been amputated and were not found in the Tesla. On September 16th, 2025, the LA County ME Department positively identified the body from dental records as belonging to the victim, Celeste Rivas Hernandez. Pursuant to their investigation, LAPD, robbery homicide detectives, determined the victim and defendant met in January of 2022 when she was just 11 years old. They began a relationship, okay? We're going to be using a lot of code words here in just a little bit, but a very illegal relationship in November of 2023 when the victim was just 13 years old and the defendant was 18. He was not a minor, okay? Detectives learned the victim had been reported missing to the Riverside County Sheriff's Department, the RCSD, by her family, who live in Lake Elsinore, in February and April of 2024. So she was reported missing in February, and then all of a sudden, in April, she was also reported missing in April. Like I said, she was a habitual runaway, and there were two separate times where she was reported missing by the family. The first time, because she ran off with an older man, which is D4vd, but he brought her back without any issues, it seems like. He took her back home. Then in April, she was gone. That was it. She was gone after that, which makes no sense, which, of course, we now find out more information, which she was bouncing back and forth, right? She'd go over there, she'd be over there, then she'd come back home. Remember, she came home for a birthday or something of that sort, arguing with the neighbors and all that. Remember that? Remember all that information? That was during the time that the family was saying that she was still missing, which doesn't make any sense. If she's missing, then she should be missing. If they know where she is, then there shouldn't be a missing report. Why do that? Right? So moving on. So the RCSD telephonically contacted defendant D4vd on February 17th of 2024 after they identified a phone number in the victim's phone records that belonged to him. During that actual call, D4vd claimed that he had spoken to the victim last on the 13th or 14th of February of 2024, but stated he was unaware she was a minor. He was unaware that she was a little. He had no idea at that time, or that she had been reported missing. Okay, let's talk about that for just a minute. See, this would be different if there was a situation where he was swindled. He thought that she was of age. Maybe he thought that she was maybe, 2 years younger than him or something like that. He's 18 at the time, when they first started talking, right? So maybe he's thinking, oh, she might be 16 or 17 years old. You see what I'm saying? The age gap isn't so great. And of course, it's a little different, a little bit, right? If you get what I'm saying. But nonetheless, even after this conversation, he should have completely distanced himself from this girl, but he didn't do that. You see what I'm saying? It's not like he sat there and said, like, let's just be real. Let's just be real for a hot minute. And let's not talk about the after. Let's just talk about what he found out right here. Let's just say he didn't know her age, which is insane. Because yes, he did meet her at 11. But let's just say he was just bamboozled the entire time. He's that dumb. If you found out at that moment, oh my Lord, she's how old? I didn't know. You distance yourself from that situation as quickly as possible, right? You wouldn't go buy a burner phone and be like, yo, hey, yo, send this to my boo thing so we can continue our conversations. Tell her I miss her, though, too. Here's $1,000. Thank you so much, bruh. Go ahead and send that to my girl so I can keep in contact with her. What? Why do you need to give her a burner phone? Why do you need to give her a second phone? Why can't you just contact her through the regular phone? Through her phone that she actually has? If she actually has it. Maybe her parents took it from her because they didn't want her to have conversations with his nasty, stanky, dingleberry ass. Think about that for a second. You see what I'm saying? So if he was like, oh my God, oh my word, she is not of age. I did not know. Instantly, I'd be like, wouldn't you just distance yourself and be done with this? I'm out. Bye. I didn't know you lied to me, girl. We're good. We're good. I'm out. Bye. I don't want any part of this. This is disturbing. Bye. Right? But no, he didn't do that. He pursued. He pursued. And he pursued and he pursued and he pursued. So much that now we're hearing about possible pregnancies or pregnancy scares and terminations of those and plan Bs and other spicy content. Him sending D pics and all that. Like, come on, y'all. That's insane. And her returning those photos with other photos of herself. Like, come on now. That's gross. So he didn't learn a damn thing, guys. He didn't. And he continued. So he can miss me with the nonsense like he didn't. Oh, I didn't know. I didn't know she was a minor. My Lord, that's ghastly. I thought she was of age. Shut up. Just shut up. Shut up. We've seen the photos of her. Okay? She looked like she was 6. So again, shut up. All right. He didn't do this. He didn't do any of this. Sorry. But shut up. He did this. Come on. So moving on. He was not aware that she was a minor and that she was reported missing. Oh, my word. So moving on. The RCSD advised him that the LA Sheriff's Department, the LASD deputies, will be coming to his home. So they were on their way, but they gave him a heads up. Ain't that interesting? Ain't that interesting? He's like, oh, the PD is like, we coming to you, but we'll be there tomorrow. We're on our way. You know what I mean? So on that day, D4vd was living at the place that he's been living at. Okay, the place in the Hollywood Hills. All right. If I'm correct, hold on. Let me make sure I'm right. No, he was at the other place. He was at the other property. Ain't that interesting? Remember, he has 2 different properties. He's renting one on 804 Doheny Place, right? I guess a smaller location, smaller joint. And then the 1368 Doheny Place is in the Hollywood Hills. They just share the same street name, just so you know. Interesting, right? So he was at the other residence that they were, I guess, on their way to. All right. So the RCSD requested that the LASD conduct a welfare check on or at D4vd's home, the one that he rented out at with where he has other friends and people staying at as well. Okay. And that he was currently during this whole time. Okay. This is the same place that he was having other people stay at as well, just so you know, and another minor staying there too. Okay. So the LASD deputies went to the defendant's home that night, that very night at 8:15 p.m. and informed him that the victim, that Celeste, was a 13-year-old runaway. D4vd again claimed he was unaware she was a minor, and he had only met the victim once in person in November of 2023. Just so you know, that's a bunch of bullshnish. Just so you know, okay? That is a whole fat ass lie. That's a whole fat ass lie. Okay? He's like, no, I didn't know. I only met her one time. I only met her once in November of 2023. I don't even know who she is. I didn't know she was not of age. I didn't even know that she was a runaway. That's a bunch of bullshnish. Okay, let's move on. However, defendant showed deputies a yearbook photo of the victim he had on his cell phone. So D4vd showed them a photo of her, a yearbook photo of her that he had on his cell phone. Why would you have that if you only met her one time? Think about that. Okay, you know, I've met a lot of people in my life, and you know for damn sure, I don't have yearbook photos of everybody that I've met just once. Just once. You mean to tell me he got a yearbook photo of her ass in his phone, and he just met her just once? And it wasn't even like that? They weren't even friends like that? He don't know nothing about her, but he has her yearbook photo on his celly. Come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. This is dumb. Okay? Sue, thank you. Doheny. Okay. Doheny. Okay. That's how it's pronounced? Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. She wants to stop the show. She's like, wait a second. Stop it. It's Doheny. Doheny. Okay, Pascal, say it right, man. Damn. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Doheny. Acetaminophen. You know what I'm saying? Thank you. Thank you. Moving on, though. Okay. Doheny. I got you, Sue. Okay. Felt that aggression in there. Damn. So he had on his celly, okay? Yeah, stop the show. Stop the show, Sue. So let's go, okay? So he has the victim's yearbook photo on his celly. Come on now. Dumb. Although he claimed to be unaware where the victim was at the time. She returned home 2 days later. How convenient, don't you think? So you got 5-0 contacting him on the 17th of February. Let's just do this math really quick. And I got to find the clip, okay? But you got 5-0 contacting him on the 17th of February, right? Then 2 days later, or later, 5-0 shows up at his home. All these things happen in succession. So one, they call him. He's like, I don't know anything about that. I didn't know she's 13. Oh my God. I don't know. I only met her once. I didn't even know she was a runaway, I swear. And they're like, oh yeah, really? Okay, we're coming to your crib. They go up to his crib, right? He's showing a photo of her face on his phone, a yearbook photo, which is weird. Still saying only met her once, a year prior, which is weird, over a year prior, right? Or actually, no, not over a year prior. That's like several months prior, right? Then after that, according to SF Investigates, there was an email sent to his actual management team on the 19th of February of 2024. Remember that. And then the very next day, she gets dropped off. So 2 days later, 2 days before, okay, she was returned home. That's when they called him. That's when they showed up at his front doorstep. That's when they were asking him about all this stuff. The very next day after that, that's when he gets an email from some family member to his management team. They actually did a full force attempt on trying to get her home as soon as possible. And then the very next day, after that email that was sent to his management team, which I'm sure he didn't like the management team hearing about her being a runaway and being a little, That's when she gets dropped off at her home. She suddenly shows up after 2 days of emails, cops showing up, and phone calls by police. Isn't that insane? That's insane. And if you do it in succession, it's phone calls by police, a meet and greet with police, an email to his management team, and then she finally shows up to her mom and dad's crib. If you look at that timeline, that's insane. And that's all within 2 to 3 days, guys. Insane, right? Insane. But this also shows that management been known. Oh, this also shows that the parents been known as well. Her parents been known. Just so you know, they've been known. Okay, let's continue on. Despite being informed, okay? Despite being informed by law enforcement, the victim was only 13 years old. D4vd continued to pursue her. Yeah, he's dumb. Dumb. After the victim returned home, after Celeste returned home in February of 2024, her parents took her cell phone away. There it is. There it is. Because they were like, we don't want you to be in contact with this mother lover. Also, we don't want you to have access to like some Ubers or anything of that sort. F it. We're taking your phone away. So in other words, they were trying to do something. They were trying to keep a leash of some sort, some restraints on their daughter. And I get it. Don't get me wrong. Like we can all look at it and go, there's much more that they could have done, so on and so forth. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. I get that. But at the same time, they at least were trying in the beginning. They were. But if you got a wild child, if you got a child that is hard to handle, what do you do? Right? Pop quiz, y'all. What do you do? Right? So they took her cell phone away. Defendant D4vd drove to Lake Elsinore and paid a junior high school student in the victim's class, in Celeste's class, $1,000 to give Celeste a cell phone D4vd purchased so that they can stay in contact, so he could be in straight contact with her. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's like, listen, also my Uber account is on there, so you can come up and see me anytime you want. Don't worry about it. You know, I'll pay for everything. You are on my payroll. That's it. Just use that thing and just come to me. Just come to me. Hop on that bus. Hop on that blah, blah, blah. I got my Apple Pay on there or something like that. You see what I'm saying? This is crazy, guys. So instead of him just being like, yo, I didn't know she's not of age. I didn't know she was a runaway. I am distancing myself from this girl. He goes out of his way to meet up with a high school student of Celeste's to pay him $1,000, give him a burner phone so that they can stay in contact with each other. That is absolutely insane. This dude did not learn anything. Throughout 2024, the victim Celeste spent a significant amount of time with D4vd, including summer weekends at his home in the Hollywood Hills and traveling with him to Las Vegas and London and Texas, baby. Now, hold up. We got to talk about something here. This is kind of crazy. So one of them charges should be rush hour, should be that traffic king. You get what I'm saying, right? It should be that too. Because let's be real. He took her out of the damn country, y'all. How does that happen? Oh, yeah, a minor across state lines. Like, no. And that absolutely is insane too. But I'm talking about he took her overseas, y'all. He took her over freaking seas. No, not London, Texas, or like London, Iowa. No. London. Tea and crumpets, love. Top of the morning to you. Yeah. You know, Prince Williams and Kate Middleton's. Yeah. Yeah. You know, blood sausage. All of a twist. You know? Who will buy? You know, that kind of stuff. You know? Yeah. British. Overseas love. Cockney accents, you know? Make that make sense. Now, she had a passport, but she was also a freaking little, y'all. The only reason why I'm dwelling on this moment, because we already know about this other stuff. Let's keep it a bean. All right? Hold on. Let me get this. Sue, London sun done came up, but we still in dungeon. Yeah. I'm telling you right now, this is all very bad, and it's worse than we thought. And I guarantee you it gets even worse. We've already known it's bad, but this is bad. Okay, yes, London, England. You know, because then they would say London, Texas, or they would just say Texas. You see what I'm saying? They would just say to places like Los Angeles and Texas. You know what I'm saying? No, they said Las Vegas, London, and Texas. You see what I'm saying? London. So she went overseas, y'all. What in the F is going on here? Yeah, jolly old England. Yeah, this is crazy. Oh, yeah. Thank you so much for the love. How did she get past immigration and hotel underage? That's exactly what I'm talking about. How could you have a minor be able to go overseas to a whole other country with a passport that's saying your age and you're not with a guardian? You're not even with a legal guardian. So what are the possibilities here? Couple things are possible. One, the parents already knew. Two, the parents already knew. Tres, the parents already knew. Four, they didn't know, but she had a fake passport. Yeah, that's the only other thing I can think of. The parents already knew. They gave her permission to go overseas, which is wild, right? Pretty insane, right? So what's up with that, right? General Genobi just said, thank you so much. What's up, General? How you doing, Genobi? Simmer down, chat. Her parents may have given her a passport, but who gave it to her to go back and forth? No excuses. That's exactly what it is. That's what I mean. It sounds like her parents gave her a passport. She had that, but at the same time, she would have to have some sort of written permission, if I'm correct, or something of that sort. Okay, hold on. Let me see. Can a minor travel overseas alone? Let's see what Google AI says. Okay? Says yes, a minor can travel internationally without a parent, but they must have a valid passport and, in most cases, a notarized letter of consent signed by both parents or the non-traveling parent. Many countries require this documentation to prevent international child abduction. Airlines often have strict policies and require unaccompanied minor forms, particularly for children, because she was a child, right? Children under 15, say American Airlines. So they would have to have some sort of notarized consent letter signed by one of the parents, at least, signed by both parents, I'm sorry, okay, saying it's okay, she can go overseas. Make that make sense. Oh, yeah, thank you so much. I took my 15-year-old and her friend to Trinidad last year, and immigration stopped me. I had to call the mom on the phone and had to get written consent. That's crazy, right? So again, if this isn't London, Paris, or no, London, California, or London, Texas, or anything of that sort, the parents, mother loving knew. Just so you know, and that was Google AI. I was just reading that off camera. Okay. Just making sure you know what the breakdown is. And therefore, this man is cooked. He moved this child across state lines. He also moved this child internationally. That's it. That's it. Now I know some of y'all are like, nah, this ain't London. This ain't London, England. This is London, Cali. No, then they would say London, Cali. They said London. London. Okay, and no matter what, he still moved her across state lines. Let's just say this all stayed. Let's just say this all stayed in the country. Let's just say that. Let's just say that. It stayed in the country. He still moved this child across state lines. A minor that he's not supposed to be doing that in the first place. Let's not forget this too. I'm sorry. Let me remind you really quick. She was also missing. She was also a missing child. So you got a missing child going across state lines and going international. All right. A missing child. So either she had a fake passport or she had a real passport that she had in her hands and a written consent form by her parents or, by both parents saying it's okay for her to go to London. Because there's no other way she would have been able to go to London and chill without them asking about her. Who's this girl? Looking at her passport, let's just say the passport's real. Okay, it says that she's 13 years old. It says that she's 13, 14 years old. Okay? That's interesting. Yeah, you guys are clearly not related, and she is too young, or she is too old to be your child, sir. So how's this going down? How does this work? Where her legal guardians at? Okay? Just saying. Oh yes, thank you so much. What date was the video with his brother backstage? I do not know. That's a good question. I do not know. Somebody in the chat, if you do know that answer, please just throw it in the chat. Okay? But nonetheless, let me just say, the only thing I could come up with is that the parents knew. And that's it. Man, it could be London, Ontario. It doesn't matter. She was moved around in different states, in different countries, and that is a massive, massive problem. Here's the other thing, too. Okay, let's be real, all right? Messi, yeah, you're forgetting he had access to flying private. Still, no matter what, they still have to go through some sort of customs. So if he was flying with her on a private jet, he would still have to answer. There would still be some sort of like, wait a second, with him going overseas with her, even if he's flying private. Okay, thank you so much, Genobi. I appreciate it. Raise your hand if you will not be surprised. Parents' bank records can't come up with they took money, or it is proven a parent traveled with her. It's coming. Her pimping parents were 10 toes down. I'm thinking the same thing. I'm not saying 10 toes down, but I'm thinking that there was a full-on understanding at some point. And it's kind of like, well, we can't stop her. She's doing everything she can to get away from us. I guess we're just going to have to go with the flow. That's the only vibe I'm getting right now. We talked about this before, the possibility of like when I'm not sitting here saying that this is the same thing, okay? But I'm just saying when you have a child that is dealing with addiction, for example, you love that kid with every fiber of your being. You want to do everything you can to protect and save that child from that unbelievable disease, right? But there's a point, if that kid can't get straight, where they just keep going, they keep lying to you, they keep doing the same things over and over again, they steal from you, they lie to you, they start doing things behind your back, etc. To the point where you just go, okay, we've already tried, we spent so much money to so many rehab facilities. We've tried every single approach and every single technique, and it's not working. The only thing we can do now is give them tough love and just let them go and do their thing and let them figure it out themselves in hopes that they will get clean and sober on their own, because we have literally bled ourselves financially dry, and we are emotionally in debt, from putting all of our effort into trying to save our child. That does happen in families. Now, there's no shade or disrespect to that. Sometimes you are put between a rock and a hard place as a parent, and you have to make those hard decisions and just give them the hard love. Now, here's the thing. Maybe it was a situation where she was a repeated, habitual runaway. She was constantly, I'm sure, not easy to deal with. I don't think she was going, love you, mom and dad. I'm going to make you guys cupcakes and dinner and show you guys how much I love you and clean the house and be awesome, and then I'm going to run away. No, I think she was being a handful. I think she was very, very difficult to deal with. I'm sorry to say it like that, but I think that they kept butting heads at home. There was a lot of tension, a lot of problems, to the point where she would consistently run away. And the parents at some point is like, she's ran away 11 times already. I don't know what else to do anymore. And she keeps running into that guy's arms. We keep finding her here in the Hollywood Hills. I don't know what else to do. And I think they backed off. They reported her missing, and they said, we're just going to back off. And eventually she'll come home, and I hope she does. And she did. That's the thing. But she was still reported missing. Why? Because she kept running away. You see what I'm saying? So something's up. That still, parents knew, okay? But I think that they started to kind of give up. Now, Real Rebel, thank you so much. I'm thinking his team had a lot to do with it as well. These record labels are wicked. Yep, I think there's a lot going on here, and we're only scratching the surface with this stuff, and it's now starting to get deeper and deeper and deeper. And the fact that they went across state lines and the fact that they went overseas is absolutely insane. Oya, thank you so much for the love. His management and travel team also enabled this. Yep, he was always with an entourage. No one spoke up. Just like Aura and the Diddler. Yep, everyone turned a blind eye. Indeed. This is so sad, y'all. Like, you have no idea how jacked up this situation is, right? And I've said it a million times, but I'm going to say it again. And I don't mean to get emotional, but I'm going to be, this breaks my heart, because she had zero help. She had zero help, y'all. So the Real Rebel, thank you so much for the love. A road manager could easily be guardian on trips. True, but they would have to sign that away. The parents, the legal guardians would have to sign that away to that particular road manager to have them be a guardian for her. You see what I'm saying? Kelly Orr, thank you so much for the love. Or she used the other girl that looked like her passport. Ooh, that's a good point too. That's still possible as well. That is possible. That is very possible. That's very possible. But we'll see. I just, like I said, I'm trying to do the math here too. I'm trying to understand this whole thing. But again, regardless, parents knew. They knew exactly where she was going. You don't think that the police, the first time she ran away and then when she returned home, they didn't contact the parents and let them know that she was allegedly having conversations with a guy named D4vd? I'm just saying, think about that. Pretty insane stuff, if you ask me. So again, the parents knew. Hate to say it like that. Hate to break y'all's hearts. But the parents knew. Were they getting paid? We'll find out for sure. But I don't know. Maybe not. Let's continue. London, guys. Okay? London. In fact, actually, hold on. Let's see. Will a minor be... I guess for the... be checked if flying on a private plane. Let's see. Let's see what Google AI says. I don't know the right word, the terminology, so I'm sorry. Okay. Will a minor be checked if flying on a private plane? It says yes, minors will still be checked when flying on a private plane, though the process is much more relaxed, faster, and more private than commercial air travel. While they typically bypass crowded, TSA lines, private jet operators have their own safety protocols. Let's see. So international flights, minors must have a valid passport and any required visas, just like adults. Let's see. Unaccompanied minors. Consent form. If a child is traveling without a parent, a notarized child travel consent letter is required. There it is. That's still even flying private, y'all. That's still... Hold up. Let me just pull this up so you guys can see it in black and white. Just see it for yourselves. All right? Let me do y'all solid. Right here. Unaccompanied minors. If a child is traveling without a parent, a notarized child travel consent letter is required. This authorizes the trip and details who will pick up the child. Age requirements. While some operators allow children as young as 7 to 8 to fly alone, policies vary. Chain of custody. For minors under 16 years old, operators often use a chain of custody form, requiring the destination adult to show ID before the child is released. Now, I'm assuming that if that child is flying from one place to another and you are actually traveling to, you know what I mean, like to meet up with dad's in London kind of thing, then that person, they would have to show identification like I am her father, the same name that's on this consent form, this consent letter. Okay, I am her father, blah, blah, blah. And then you guys can go off and enjoy London. You see what I'm saying? And it would be the same thing if she was flying from London to America, right? And say, mommy is in America. And so she would have to show ID. This is my daughter, so on and so forth. That's my name on the consent form, blah, blah, blah. So it'd still be the same thing. I mean, so even flying private is not as easy peasy as one might think. Okay? It's not like you could just fly under the radar, pun intended, and think that you can just get away with anything, okay? Rather, guy, in the words of the Wu-Tang Clan, cream, cash rules everything around me. People can be paid off to look the other direction. Money talks. You ain't wrong, okay? Dollar bill, y'all. You ain't wrong. You definitely ain't wrong. So maybe that's the situation. Maybe he got paid off or he paid some people off to just like, hey, man, she with me, man. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. But nonetheless, it is pretty interesting that they moved her around when she was alive. But what's interesting is I think she was moved around even after her demise. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. Let's move on. So text messages between Celeste and D4vd contain references to the sideways samba, pregnancy, termination, and the use of Plan B emergency contraceptive. There are also explicit photos documenting and corroborating their actual illegal carnal relationship. We got to use these code words, guys. In November of 2024, defendant and D4vd and Celeste broke up, although they continued to communicate. And text messages suggest they also continued to have relations. There's that part I was waiting for, right freaking there. So they were on again, off again, okay? They were Ross and Rachel. Are they on today? Are they off today? Yeah. They were friends with benefits, basically. He kept stringing her along. He kept giving her false hopes and all that stuff. Okay? Okay. Continued on and on and on and on and on. Welcome. All right? Now, this is when things get really crazy. It's already crazy, by the way, but this is where things get even more insane. All right? Hold on. Where is it? Genobi, yeah, can we please stop saying broke up? It's SA. It is, yes, but there was I'm sorry, this is the only way you can talk about it, right, Genobi? I mean, it's disgusting, but they were in some sort of relationship. And then they parted ways, right? But then they didn't part ways. They weren't done. You see what I'm saying? They weren't done. They continued to have this relationship on again, off again, on again, off again, on again, off again. Which is weird, disgusting. But I think it was him stringing her along, right? Because I think he also knew, oh, dang, I had this very nasty, disgusting, illegal relationship with this girl, and I don't want her to start talking. So I think he was just still buttering her up, trying to say everything he could to keep her in his good graces. And of course, he clearly was obsessed with her too, which is disturbing, okay? But it's like, I can't quit you. You know what I'm saying? This is just insane. But nonetheless, now we're at the point, the day of her death, or the time around her death. So April 23rd, 2025 is the likely date of Celeste's death. And when all her cellular activity ceased. So, the night prior, April 22nd, 2025, defendant D4vd and Celeste engaged in a lengthy argument described in detail in their text messages. Thank you, Mimi, for the super sticker. I appreciate it. The messages reveal the victim's jealousy over defendant's relationships with other women. So she had a huge problem. Celeste had a massive problem with him out here gallivanting with other scallywags. Okay? She did not like that whatsoever. And again, he was stringing her along. So she may have been thinking they're about to get back together. All the while, he's out here being an adult around adult females and trying to have adult relationships with other adults. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? And she's upset because she's not of age. The relationship is forbidden and illegal. But he's out there doing his thing. And that got her angry. The messages reveal Celeste's jealousy over D4vd's relationship with other women, as the defendant, or as D4vd, led her believe that they had a future together. So Celeste became extremely upset during this time and threatened to disclose damaging information about her relationship with D4vd that would end his career and destroy his mother-loving life. Okay? D4vd's first studio album, was due to be released on April 25th, 2 days later of that year, 2025. He had an emerging multi-million-dollar career already in progress. He literally was having his name about to be written in the stars. He also had multiple product endorsements, which were highly profitable. Apparently, he had a makeup line too. Dude had a makeup line? Yeah, dude had a makeup line, y'all. Straight up. And he was making money off that too. A makeup line. Okay. I mean, I'm wondering if JD Vance uses his products. I'm kidding. The smoky eye. I'm just saying the smoky eye. Okay, moving on. At approximately 8:40 p.m. on April 23rd, the day of her supposed death, April 23rd, 2025, D4vd sent an Uber to take Celeste from her Lake Elsinore home to his home. They communicated before and during her Uber ride, which dropped her off at D4vd's Hollywood home, the Hollywood Hills home, at around 10:10 p.m. And at approximately 10:30 p.m., D4vd sent text messages to the victim, inquiring text messages to Celeste, asking where she be. Yeah. He was like, where you at? Yeah. Uh-huh. The people contend this was part of D4vd's premeditated plan to cover up the murder, as she was already dead at this time. So 20 minutes after her walking into his Hollywood Hills mansion, he took her life. Knowing he had to silence the victim, Celeste, before she ruined his career, she had already threatened to do, very soon after her arrival at his home, D4vd attacked her multiple times, okay, to the point where she perished, and stood by while she bled out. At no time did he call law enforcement or 911 or take her to the emergency room to attempt to save her life. He wanted to take her out for good because she had too much on his dirty, nasty, dingle-buried ass. Despite knowing she was gone and her family was trying to find her, the evidence will show D4vd lied and claimed that he didn't know where she was. In fact, D4vd drove to Santa Barbara County immediately after Celeste died, attempting to dispose of her property and destroy evidence. So again, he jumped in that ride. He drove out to Santa Barbara, which is also goes with what they've been saying, with the information that they've been talking about. He went out there to burn her passport, her ID, and whatnot, okay? Mimi, thank you so much for the super sticker. At approximately 11:30 p.m. on April 23rd, 2025, he drove away from his home as he texted and called the victim's phone, asking where she was. So he was covering his tracks, y'all. Yeah, this dude is a mother-loving monster, without question. Again, these were acts calculated and planned to set up his defense within a very short timeline after the victim's vicious demise. D4vd drove his Tesla north on the 101 freeway to San Marcos Pass Road, SR 154, near Lake Cachuma, in Santa Barbara County. He returned home early that following morning on April 24th, 2025. Hold on, let's go back here. So he drove north on, so he went out there to Santa Barbara. He burned some things out there in Santa Barbara, right? Drove all the way out to Santa Barbara to dispose property and destroy evidence, right? Okay. Then he drove on the 101 freeway, all right, to San Marcos Pass Road near Lake Cachuma in Santa Barbara County. What was he doing over there? Maybe to discard, maybe to throw the knife that he used that took her life, threw it out into the lake maybe in passing while he was driving down the road. Maybe he's driving on an overpass over a lake or a body of water and he just tosses it out the window, something like that. But that seems weird, right? I wonder why he did that. He returned home early the following morning on April 24th, 2025, before going on to a radio interview for the release of his album that week. So he didn't really sleep at all. He went straight into this radio interview like it was nothing. He sent 2 additional texts to Celeste's phone that day, which obviously went unanswered because she was already dead. After April 26th, defendant never attempted to contact her again. So after 3 days of him trying to get in touch with her, he gave up. Let me just remind you, this is the same girl that he knows already is a habitual runaway, that he had a long-standing relationship with, that he had an obsession with, so much that he was using other actresses to play her part in these music videos that he was doing. His anime depicted girls that looked a lot like Celeste. And he stopped trying to find her after 3 days. Now, looking on the side of if he's not guilty and he had nothing to do with this, the fact that he's just gave up after 3 days, especially when this poor girl is on her way to your house. You bought an Uber to send her to your house. And let's just say she did end up disappearing before she even walked into your home. You gave up after 3 days looking for her, or at least trying to get a hold of her. The girl that was your everything, your muse. That doesn't make any sense, right? So this also says him guilty. Come on now. Let's continue. It's just I have no words. Tellingly, D4vd subsequently purchased tools to carry out his plot to dismantle and dispose of Celeste's body. So, on April 24th, 2025, defendant ordered a shovel from Home Depot that was delivered to his home from Postmates. What? So he used Postmates to have them deliver a shovel to his crib. Okay. Then several days later, like a week later, on May 1st of 2025, defendant ordered, so tomorrow will be a year ago that he ordered this. Real talk, tomorrow's the 1st of May. This would have happened a year ago tomorrow. So on May 1st, 2025, defendant ordered and subsequently Amazon delivered 2 chainsaws to his home. Then 4 days later, on May 5th, Cinco de Mayo, defendant D4vd ordered and Amazon subsequently delivered a body bag, heavy-duty laundry bags, and a blue inflatable pool to his home. Have mercy. And no, it's not like he was making some OF content with baby oil or KY jelly, wrestling content. No. He had some ideas to do some things. He made these purchases under the fake name Victoria Menendez. On May 8th, 2025, D4vd returned to the same area in Santa Barbara County, leaving his home around 11:30 p.m. What the F is going on right there, y'all? Okay, we gonna circle back to this paragraph here in a second, okay? But he went back to the same area that he was there before. He went back over there to Santa Barbara County, leaving his home at around 11:30 p.m. He returned to the area again on May 31st. So definitely a whole month went by, basically, okay? And he went back there again on May 31st, 2025. This is an isolated site off of SR 154 where Celeste's identification was subsequently discovered in January of 2026. Additionally, on July 7th of 2025, D4vd ordered and subsequently Amazon delivered a burn cage to his home under this same fake name, the Victoria Menendez name, as part of his plan to incinerate evidence. And I'm also wondering, did he maybe have plans to incinerate her? Moreover, defendant took horrifying measures to destroy and discard Celeste's body. After placing her body into the blue inflatable pool to prevent her red, if you get what I'm saying, spilling onto his garage floor, defendant used a chainsaw and perhaps other tools to dismantle her. Small blue plastic fragments were found embedded in her remains, which were collected by the medical examiner's department in LA County. The fragments were analyzed by the LAPD's Forensic Science Division Trace Analysis Unit. An expert was able to make a physical fit match from the blue fragments to the blue inflatable pool purchased by defendant in May of 2025. D4vd used this indeed. He used this inflatable pool, this blue inflatable pool, to be able to do what he ended up doing, to dismantle her. In order to distance himself from the victim, he amputated, of course, her left ring and pinky fingers because her ring finger contained the tattoo of his name, David, on her ring finger on her left hand. Almost like this was like almost like a promise tattoo or like a promise ring, Crazy, right? On her left finger, right? Anyway, left ring finger. That's something very telling. Her fingers have not been recovered. Defendant, D4vd then placed her head and torso in the cadaver bag he purchased. He placed her limbs into the garbage bag, which he deposited into his front trunk of his car, laying the cadaver bag on the top for several weeks or possibly months. Defendant left the victim's body to decompose inside that Tesla. Okay. He lied to friends, business associates, and others who noticed the strong smell of decay in and around his home and vehicle. Before leaving his concert tour at the end of July, he parked his Tesla on the street around the corner from his home. Let's go back a little bit, guys. Let's talk. Let's talk about this really quick. This is absolutely diabolical, and this is a piece of trash human being. Like I said, he's a monster. That goes without question. I have some theories. So let's talk about him here really quick. I think she got moved around. Just like she moved around in life, I think post-mortem, she was moved around too. Hear me out. So he does what he did. He goes out to Santa Barbara after he killed her, right? And he gets rid of certain pieces of evidence, her ID, etc., to try to make sure she is gone. And if they're trying to find her, there's no trace of her as far as her identity, right? Her identification and whatnot, right? He buys body bags. He buys laundry bags, a blue inflatable pool. But before that, though, he bought a shovel. Let's not forget that. So he buys the shovel. He orders these other things. They end up showing up in time, right? But while all that is going down, he makes more than just one trip out to Santa Barbara, that same area. My thought is that he drove out there and he buried her. That's what I think. I think he took that shovel and at least had the idea of burying her. He had the idea or the desire to actually try to bury her. Maybe he was successful. Maybe he wasn't. But I think at first it was like, I need to put her somewhere while I try to figure out what I'm going to do. So my theory is that she got put in the ground at first. Hold on. We're gonna get to the freezing part here in a second. But I truly think he buried her. At one of these trips, he buried her. Hold on. So, Defendant drove. Okay, so after she loses her life, he drove over there, okay, to this area, attempted to dispose her property. That's number one. Then there was another time, right? Defendant returned to the same area in Santa Barbara, leaving his home around on May 8th. Okay. He returned to that area again, a whole other later in the month. My theory. Now I could be wrong. This is just my theory. Don't at me. I'm just saying this is just my speculation, my theory. He went there at least 3 times. All right. And at one of those times, or 2 different times, one was to bury her and another one was to dig her up. Let me repeat that again. There were 3 different times. I think he went out to Santa Barbara the first time, and as he was discarding her identifications, her passports, etc., I'm thinking he went out there and he was like, yo, I could probably put her here. So he goes back home. He obviously buys a bunch of stuff. He orders things, certain things, so on and so forth, right? He buys the body bag, etc. I think that he took her remains after dismantling her, if this timeline is correct, and he took her over there to maybe bury her out there. Why would he go back out there again? Why? Then, at the end of May 31st, he went back there again. So my only expectation, or my only prediction, is that he buried her and then he went back out there again at the end of May, dug her back up. For what reason, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe to move her somewhere else. Maybe her spirit was was really haunting him or something of that sort. I mean, you got to remember, this guy is already, he's already cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. So, and he's already, believing in like this whole lore, that he's been creating about this, and, that's been inspired by anime. So maybe he's like, I gotta get her out of there. So he goes back out there, gets her, and maybe puts her in the freezer. I don't know. But and maybe he's like, okay, I'm going to get this burn cage and I'm going to burn her. I'm going to burn her remains so that she is nowhere to be found. So even in 20 years, a dog walks through this area and finds her, it can't come back to me. You see what I'm saying? So I think he had a plan to maybe discard her, maybe do something, and she got moved around quite a bit. Now, my timeline could be absolutely wrong, right? That's just what I've been feeling. Because why would you get a shovel? What would you order a shovel for? Unless you were planning on actually burying her or burying the weapons and the tools that you're using to dismantle her. The murder weapon and the equipment that you used to take her apart. That's the only other thing I can think of, right? Now, like I said, I could be wrong, okay? Don't at me. Don't get all upset, because I know how people get real passionate about these cases. Like, you're wrong, Pascal. You're wrong. I get it. This is just my theory. And I could be wrong, right? But I think he was looking at what possible... I think he was looking at the situation, seeing what kind of options he had, and maybe trying those things out, and then going, nah, I need to, and maybe having dreams of her body being discovered or something like that. And then that's what got him to go back out there and get her, dig her back up and then put her in a freezer. And then it's like, okay, now I got to figure out where I'm going to put her now that she's in the freezer. You see what I'm saying? So, I mean, like I said, that's just my theory. But he went out there more than once, guys. He didn't just go out there just once and be done. He went over there not a multitude, but a handful of times. What was that for? He already destroyed all the evidence, like as far as her ID and stuff like that. So what was that for? Why was he keep going back out there? The only two things I can think of is to bury her remains or to bury the weapon and the material that he used to dismantle her. That's the only thing I can think of right now. Okay? But comment down below. Let me know what your thoughts. Again, I could be absolutely wrong. Let's continue on. This is absolutely insane, though. So again, he lied to friends, business associates, and others who noticed a strong smell of decay in and around his home and vehicle. We got information about that too. We're going to be looking at that as well. Before leaving on his concert tour at the end of July, he parked his Tesla on the street around the corner from his home, trying to get it as far away from his home because there was problems with that smell. The smell was smelling. Okay. LAPD served a search warrant at D4vd's home. Okay. In the Hollywood Hills house, that mansion, on September 17th, 2025, after Celeste was actually identified by the medical examiner on September 16th. Inside the garage, detectives discovered evidence consistent with dismemberment of Celeste's body in the inflatable pool, which contained multiple linear cuts. Interesting. Several biological samples, which tested positive for blood, were collected within the garage area. So they found splatter. Even while he was trying to cover it up, there still was some semblance of Celeste being dismantled in that garage. DNA analysis determined that various samples matched the victim's unique genetic profile. In other words, that was Celeste in that garage, and she was dismantled and taken apart inside that garage. There is no question about it. Okay? On December 9th, 2025, the ME ruled her death as a homicide. Okay? That's only a few months after her body was found. All right? Caused by two penetrating injuries into the torso. On January 17th, 2025, the victim's U.S. passport card was found, okay, by a Caltrans worker off SR 154 in Santa Barbara County. So in other words, he was driving in Santa Barbara, and he's just discarding things. I'm thinking he's just throwing her ID out the window. He's, you know what I mean? On the path, he's just throwing things out the window, things that are her personal belongings, so on and so forth, to make it seem like she went on the run, that maybe she was snatched or something. And there was a struggle, and her stuff just sprayed all over the interstate. You see what I'm saying? Think about this. He thought about this, guys. Maybe he didn't know exactly what he was going to do after he took her life, but he knew what he was going to do immediately after he took her life. He was like, I don't know what I'm going to do with her body, but I'm going to do something with this stuff as soon as I take her life. I got a plan, right? So the people will present the following evidence at the preliminary hearing, including, but not limited to, the description of photographs depicting the victim Celeste in her birthday suit, as well as while she was engaged with D4vd in SA, okay, in this activity when she was only 13 years old. As this evidence constitutes CSAM, all right, the photographs themselves will not be presented. Thank God. No one needs to see that, okay? While all possible charges that could be proven were, while all charges that could not be proven were not filed, the CSAM is proof of their ongoing illegal relationship while the victim was 13 and 14 years old. Numerous text messages between defendant and the victim evidencing their illegal relationship, pregnancy, termination in the plan, the use of Plan B emergency contraception, messages through March 2025 proved D4vd continued to manipulate little Celeste as she messaged, all we do is have these kinds of this kind of relations, and just hang out, man. I want more than that for myself. So in other words, wow, that's just absolutely insane. All we do is do the sideways samba and we just hang out. Like I want to be taken out. I want to be, I want to be romanced. That kind of thing. I'm not just I'm not just some glorified booty call. Like that's literally what she's saying, right? I want more than this in this relationship, and you're not giving it to me. We're just doing this and that's it. That's crazy, right? These messages were obtained from D4vd's iCloud data. So D4vd's cellular activity and communications derived from his actual iPhone and Tesla, which demonstrate D4vd's activities from April 22nd to April 24th, the day before and the day before through the day after her death, okay, including a trip to Santa Barbara County in the middle of the night after the victim arrived at his Hollywood Hills home. Surveillance footage of D4vd driving his Tesla on July 29th, 2025, for the last time before parking that vehicle and leaving on tour at the end of July. DNA evidence developed from bloodstains collected from D4vd's garage, which match Celeste's genetic profile. Bloodstains, y'all. Proof of D4vd's Amazon purchases and deliveries to his residence, including 2 chainsaws, a body bag, an inflatable pool, heavy-duty laundry bags, and a burn cage after April 24th of 2025. Proof of D4vd's purchase and delivery from Postmates of a shovel from the Home Depot to his home the day after she was murdered on April 24th, 2025. Uber records showing D4vd's transaction where he ordered the Uber to pick up Celeste from her home in Lake Elsinore to transport her to his residence the night of her demise, April 23rd, 2025. Proof of defendants D4vd's lucrative career as a singer and songwriter, and he was not good at mediocre at best, okay? Prior to April 23rd, 2025, D4vd had a album release party on the night of April 24th, 2025, before embarking on an international tour in late July 2025. Text messages exchanged between D4vd and Celeste on April 22nd and April 23rd, 2025, where Celeste threatened to expose D4vd and destroy his career. Man, okay, we got to break something down here really quick. I didn't get a chance to talk about this here, so I'm going to say it again here really quick. Okay, real quick. What were the two chainsaws for? Why did he have 2 chainsaws, y'all? Make that make sense. What were the 2 chainsaws for? As much as we are, we're sitting here, we're all clutching our pearls. We're all going, oh my word, this poor baby, blah, blah, blah. And I get that. Don't get me wrong. We all should be very shocked about that information. But the number one question I have as well is, why would he have 2 chainsaws? And no, he wasn't moonlighting as a lumberjack. Okay, no, he didn't have dreams of becoming Paul Bunyan, all right, with his flannel shirt and eating stacks of pancakes, all right? No, he was not having that. So why did he have 2 chainsaws? Just in case one breaks, he has another one just as a backup? No, baby. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. That could be it too. They bought 2 just in case one breaks down. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, but it seems very, very weird that he would do that. It just seems very weird that he would buy 2. He had a friend there. That's what I think. Somebody just said it earlier. Occam's razor. Let's think about it, guys. Occam's razor. Let's marinate about that for a second. Okay? He had 2 different chainsaws. That makes sense. That makes no sense. Okay? Now, Shroomy, Steve just said chainsaws clog up sometimes when they get wet. Yeah, I get that. I get that. But then I feel like, I just feel like it just seems weird. Because if that one gets all clogged up or gets like stuck, you don't think the other one is going to get stuck too? So you're going to have to buy a whole other one after that. You see what I'm saying? So why buy two? So somebody helped him. That's what I think. Yeah, kiss. Keep it simple, stupid. All day long. So let's keep it simple. He had two because he was trying to get help, or he had help. Or at least maybe he thought he was going to have help, and then that person chickened out. That could be it too. Maybe somebody chickened out. Maybe it's a backup chainsaw. I don't know. But it seems a little bit strange that you would buy two of them. You buy two of them. Now the question is, were two of them used? That's the thing that I'd love if prosecution can find out, that two of them were used. Because if two of them are used, then that makes it even more of a possibility that he did not do this alone. At least the dismantling of Celeste. Think about that for a second. Okay? I think he had help. Bless me. Okay? I really think he had help. I don't think he had help taking her life. I think he had help taking her apart. That's what I think. Not discarding his stuff, like not her personal ID and all that. Okay, but I think he had help at least dismantling her. But I don't know if it was Neo. I know a lot of y'all instantly going like that be Neo. No, I don't get that vibe from Neo. I'm sorry, guys. I know some of y'all are like, no, it gotta be Neo. Nah. I don't think it was Neo. I think Neo would have been the first person, one of the first to start squawking. I'm just gonna be real. I don't see Neo. Neo gives me the vibe like he'd snap. You see what I'm saying? And some of y'all like, who Neo? We'll be seeing Neo's face in just a minute here. Okay? Just in a minute. Okay? Monet, thank you so much for the love. Thank you so much for the Monet. I appreciate it. Okay? But yeah, I think he just gives me the vibe that he would snap. Like he would have a full-on nervous breakdown. He'd start talking online. He'd start saying all kinds of stuff. He doesn't seem like the type with that kind of mentality that would be fine doing this. You see what I'm saying? It's just a vibe I'm getting. If somebody did help him do this, this is somebody who's just as cool, as cold and collected as D4vd. That's what I think. You see what I'm saying? So I don't know if it's Neo, bruh. I just don't see it. Not right now. But let's finish this up. This it's the last page. So in conclusion, this brief is filed to assist the court in understanding the scope and the relevance of evidence the prosecution intends to present at the preliminary hearing. The prosecution has issued numerous subpoenas and is prepared to proceed with the preliminary hearing. They ready, baby. They ready. Okay? They super duper ready. The defense has had multiple opportunities to request a continuance, but has not done so. I love how they're like, yeah, defense says they ready. Defense says they ready, but I don't think they're ready for this info. And guess what? They weren't ready for that info. Hence the reason why they pushed the preliminary hearing for a whole nother month. We ain't going to see it until the end of May. Nah, because they didn't know what prosecution had in their corner, and now they do, and they're like, oh my word. And they're probably going, David, D4vd, you really did this ish? Damn. Oh my God. Look at all that. What? Did you really do this? Oh, look at all this CSAM. Oh my Lord, you a nasty bird. You a dirty, dirty bird. D4vd, explain yourself. You say you didn't do this. I don't even know if I can represent you no more. Oh my Lord. That's how screwed he is. You understand? He is absolutely cooked. Absolutely cooked. Okay? He's cooked. Iceman cometh. Thank you so much for love. Hey, maybe the day he went to buy the chainsaws were buy one get one the day, so he got two. That would be wild. That'd be wild if he showed up and he's like, y'all got BOGO? Oh, word? Yeah, let me get two of them then. Buy one get one chainsaw for free? Bet that. Nah. That's crazy. That'd be crazy if that was the case, but I don't see that happening anytime soon. Okay. But let's continue on. Okay. They've had multiple opportunities to request a continuance, but has not done so. Furthermore, California Penal Code 1050 requires the defense to provide at least 2 court days notice to request a continuance. In view of the limited scope of evidence to be presented at the preliminary hearing detailed in this brief, there should be no substantial impediment to moving forward with the hearing as scheduled, because they said they's big time ready. They are super duper 110% ready to rock and freaking roll. They don't give a damn. They're like, oh, you think we ain't ready? Oh, we got enough on this guy's ass. But I got a question about that. Oh yeah, thank you so much for the love. In case one goes bad, in case one brand didn't work, the one they found was still in the box. Go back to his interview, to SF's interview. They left. Okay, so they left those when they moved out. Interesting. That's very interesting. So I guess it was just in case. If that's the case, maybe it was just in case one didn't work out. Interesting. That would be very interesting, right? But nonetheless, this man, this piece of trash is absolutely screwed. Okay? Absolutely screwed. 2 chainsaws, a bunch of laundry bags, body bags, an inflatable pool. Like, why would you think of using an inflatable pool to actually just, what if you, this is going to sound so messed up, but what if you go beyond the body part that you're trying to sever and you hit the actual inflatable pool? It's going to start deflating. So the whole purpose of having that inflatable pool is obsolete. You understand that, right? Like, he didn't even, like, you know, remember those old school big ass, do they still make them? Like the massive, you know, they're pools, they're baby pools, you know what I mean? But they're plastic. They're just plastic. He didn't even decide to do that. He said, let me get an inflatable pool. What type of smoke, what kind of crack was he smoking? But still at the same time, great. Yeah, he must have definitely, Remy, he did tear into the pool because it's it's embedded in her body parts, which is insane, right? So he definitely did not think that through, you know? Like, he was not thinking thoroughly about that, which is absolutely crazy if you ask me, all right? But we got to go over to, there's a couple things I want to show you guys, okay? There's definitely a couple things that I want to show y'all. One thing is for sure, this is absolutely insane, okay? There is, and shout out to my girl, Nicole B. Thank you. Thank you so much for sending this to me. I think it was yesterday that you sent it to me or the day before. But nonetheless, this is absolutely crazy. There is a stream that has been cut out, and everybody's been watching this. This is the moment that he's talking about the smell in the house, y'all. Yeah, so apparently he was lying to friends and colleagues, etc., about the smell that was going on in the house. Because the car, if her body was in the Tesla this entire time, if that's entirely true, people were complaining about the smell in his car. They were complaining about the smell in his house. And he was just going, oh yeah, I'm sorry, I took a dump. I took a dookie. Listen, like I said, they're talking about this in this stream. Okay. Sakura, I don't know who that is. Okay. But she was doing a stream. All right. And while they're doing a stream, she's with D4vd, her friends, etc. You know, you even got Neo right here. Look at Neo, you know, and they're all hanging out. And he makes a comment about the smell, which we're going to look at here in a second, but I just want to show you guys a little bit of like their, you know, their demeanor, etc. Okay. But this is absolutely crazy.
What was that reaction?
No.
Let me go over. Oh, dude, it's so tragic.
I want you to go under like an alias and make a whole different like genre of music to see if you can blow up again.
I'll be a rapper. Freaking.
Your rapper name?
Scared
Big D.
someone run through.
Big D's good. That's a good
love you like I do.
Big D? Yeah.
Do you like it or not?
You.
You like it or not? Why is Keanu Reeves singing?
Yes.
Yo, Keanu Reeves, you? I guess. You should grow your beard. I can't. Well, I can try. You know, oil farming low key? Am I? I got water. Got a gallon of water. That's not water. Got a lot of water. So much water. That's not. That's water. We fill it with water.
Now, apparently, the girl in the back is like dealing with a cold. Okay, Floating Lotus, thank you so much for the super sticker. I really do appreciate it. But apparently, she is having like she's sick. Okay, like she's got like, I don't know, hay fever or whatever the hell you want to call it. You know what I mean? It could just be allergies or something like that. But she's like struggling. So they're in his bathroom, streaming, hanging out, so on and so forth. Okay, just so you guys know.
Fill it up with water.
Okay.
Those are mine. Those are mine. No, wait, so that's. You don't want the flavors up? That's water, guys. It's water. What is this?
Magical. Can you put that in the bag?
You got drugs? Oh, wait, I think I have my pills for you. Can you put this in the bag too? Unless you don't mind. I have a lot of pills. Can you put. Yeah.
So he's got a whole lot of party favors, it sounds like, in that bag. Okay, and he also has some vodka. And if I'm correct, they're all drinking illegally. Okay, because he's well, David, at least at the time of this live stream, he's not of age to drink. He's 20. He just turned 21, by the way, guys. Just last month, if I'm correct. So he's not of age to drink. Okay, and he's out there, you know, he's underage drinking right now. We're seeing that right now as we speak. Okay. I don't know if I don't think she was doing that yayo, baby. I think she literally was, you know, she's having a cold. You know what I mean? But you never know. Maybe it was her out here, you know, just skiing. You never know, guys. You never know.
Nails crammed back.
Fuck you, bro. I'm looking at your packing it, bro. Go fuck yourself. I don't even get paid, guys. I'm not even getting paid for this bullshit, bro. Fuck this, bro. Fuck all y'all, dead ass.
Oh. Now, do we make up? Yeah.
ABC. Oh, yes,
Paid exposure?
I apologize in advance for the way my bathroom smelled. I took a shit in there like 2 hours ago.
Right there. Right there. Right there. You hear that BS? My bad, bro. Y'all, my bad. This, you know, that smell you smelling is because I took a dookie just 2 hours ago. Is your home like, are your walls made of like cloth or something? Like, really, you took a dump and your dookie was so strong that it lasted, the smell lingered in that room for 2 hours. You are in that same bathroom that he just took a dookie in, that it smells so bad that the smell is still lingering for 2 whole hours. He didn't bother to light no match, bring out no Febreze, I don't know, anything else to cover up the smell of him dropping a deuce. Make that make sense. And then on top of it, why would you bring your friends to do a live stream in the bathroom that you just took a massive, colossal dump in that was so bad that the smell would linger in the bathroom for 2 whole mother-loving hours later? Make that make sense? So right now he's like, oh, my bad, bro. Bro, that was, yeah, I took a dump 2 hours ago, so my bad, bro. My bad, bro. Yeah, and that's also like, did you not flush the toilet? Did you not flush after you took the dookie? Did you keep the door closed when you left? Is this a vacuum sealed tight room where no air comes in or out when you close the door? I'm just asking for a friend because I'd be asking that too. I'd be like, 2 hours later, bruh, what kind of dump did you take? Damn. What did you eat yesterday? My Lord. So again, doesn't make any sense. She does say in a second, I took a dookie too, but that doesn't mean anything. They're still in that bathroom and no one's talking or commenting about the smell so far. And he's like, oh, my bad, bro. Took a dump 2 hours ago. Hold on. Let's just roll that back again and rewatch, relearn. And no, Neo does not give me the vibe of the type that would do some diabolical stuff. He just doesn't give me that vibe. Not yet, at least. You know what I'm saying? He gives me the vibe of like, he was straight up crash out. That's what I see. Like he just said, dead ass, on God, dead ass, bruh, dead ass. He just doesn't give me that vibe, y'all. I'm sorry, he just doesn't. I don't see him standing next to D4vd dismantling this poor little girl. I just don't see it.
Oh yeah, I apologize in advance for the way my bathroom smelled. I took a shit in there like 2 hours ago.
I don't care. I just took a shit in there.
Another one? Type shit. That's what I'm talking about.
Yep. I had to go.
Word, they just took a dump together, so they're poop brothers. Or they're poop siblings or something. I don't know. But still, no matter what. And then look at the look on Neo's face. What? They're all talking about taking a dookie. Which is normal. Everyone does. Okay? Everybody poops. Sometimes. Everyone poops. Okay? Everybody poops. But still, very interesting that he's like, my bad, bro. The smell in here, bro. My bad, bro. And they're streaming in there too. So again, they're talking about a smell that is lingering in the bathroom. And you see what I'm saying? Just very strange. I'm rolling that back. Hold on.
The way my bathroom smelled, I took a shit in there like 2 hours ago.
I don't care. I just took a shit in there.
Another one? Type shit. That's what I'm talking about.
Yep. I had to go.
You had a bowel movement? Hell yeah. That's my girl. Way to drop a duke. Way to drop bombs in the bathroom. Yeah, my girl. You do that bodily function thing like everybody else in the world does too? Word, son. Yeah, we poop siblings now, you feel me? I don't get it. I don't get it. But I will say this. He's covering up. He's trying to make excuses because she is somewhere in that house, either in that car or somewhere in that house, smelling up the place. And I'm sorry for saying that, but she is emanating a smell that is worse than the smell of Dookie.
Look at my wall.
You're still not dressed, Wapo says. You guys, we're about to leave soon.
Everybody is dressed.
We're all chilling, bro. We gotta go.
There's no light.
We gotta go. We gotta go.
Okay, ready to go?
Asia slaying with that belly button ring. Hey!
Hey, one funny way.
Are you just rocking that?
Unfortunately, they did get infected.
The problem with that?
Are you not rocking anything over it?
Sorry.
No, you're a belly button watcher?
Probably.
He's a belly button watcher. That's crazy.
We're so glad that she healed up.
Okay, that's enough. You get the idea, okay? Now, again, I don't get it. I don't get it. I've never heard of dropping a deuce so bad that it just stays. Do you have to let it linger? Like, I just don't see it just chilling in the cut. I just don't. Even if the door is wide open, the smell leaves eventually. It doesn't linger around for 2 hours. Last I checked. Okay? And for those of y'all who do that, okay, light a match. Use some Febreze. Light a scented candle. Something. Okay? Do that the people some service by trying to cover up the smell. If you know for a fact there are going to be guests in your room or in your house, chilling in that very bathroom from which you actually just dropped dookies in, use your brains. But clearly, this guy, he's not talking about that really. He's trying to cover up the fact that he just committed murder. And he's busy trying to cover it up so people don't start asking questions. Like, oh my Lord, what is that smell? Oh my Lord. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, the fart fan, Dylan. You know what I'm saying? You turn it on something. You know for a fact you turn it on something, guys. If it's that bad, have mercy. You know? You're going to do everything you can to try to cover it up. But he's like, nope, my bad, guys. It smells really bad because I dropped the deuce. That's his excuse. Nope, it's because Celeste is somewhere in the house. That's it. Let's get over to this News Nation. I want to share this with y'all too. Because of course, last night everybody and their mama was reacting to this. This information is absolutely shocking, jaw-dropping, and all that, okay? Jaw-dropping while he's putting droppings in, making excuses, saying he did make some droppings in his toilet, which is absolutely insane. But he tried that. Absolutely. He tried that. Let's just keep it a bean. But as we continue, please do me a favor, guys, okay? Hit that like button down below. Crush it. Do it a do. Don't forget, please, can you send it to... Can we get it to 1K real quick? I see a bunch of y'all in here. That would be greatly appreciated. It helps the show. It helps us continue to flourish as a channel. Okay? That would be greatly, greatly appreciated. Okay? So yeah, hit that like. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well. Subscribe. All right? That would be amazing. All right? Welcome to the family. Every single last one of y'all that have been subscribing recently. It's been quite an amazing thing. We're moving up in the world, okay? So I appreciate it. We moving on up to the east side. So I appreciate it. Okay? Let's see what Jesse Weber has to say about all this too.
We are learning some more disturbing and I will just say incredibly gruesome details about the murder case against the singer David tonight. And this is thanks to a brief that was filed by Los Angeles Deputy District Attorney Beth Silverman.
Oh, by the way, I feel like this is going to be the only briefing we're going to get for a while. Unless people start stepping forward, unless victims start speaking out, friends start doing exclusive interviews. I think there may be a lull coming. I don't know if I'm right. You know what I mean? I don't know if I have it correct, but it's the vibe I'm getting because they've sealed everything. They sealed everything. So I'm wondering what else we're going to get in between time, because we still have from today until the 12th where they're supposed to be reconvening, and finding out if they are going to have this preliminary hearing on the 26th of May. There's a possibility that they might try to push that date and ask for another continuance. You never know. So, or he might plead. Try to get a plea deal, which is also possible because again, they are going to try to get the DP on his ass. Wait for it, because of what he did is so grisly. It's so disgusting. I wouldn't be surprised if they're asking or they're trying to pursue the DP. We'll see what happens. But nonetheless, all of this is all we get for a little while, which is crazy, right? Yeah. So it's very frustrating, guys, but let's continue.
In connection with a status hearing earlier today, and I will warn you right now, some of what you're about to hear is very graphic. According to prosecutors, David, real name David Anthony Burke, allegedly used a chainsaw to dismember the body of 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez after murdering her. He then allegedly amputated 2 fingers on her hand that could have linked him to the teen runaway, one that apparently had a tattoo of his name. Again, it's horrifying to hear. This 9-page brief that was obtained by TMZ lays out the evidence that Silverman planned to present at a preliminary hearing that was set for Friday, although today the defense said there was just too much discovery to go through by Friday, so the judge pushed that hearing back almost a month to May 26th. Again, that's where the prosecution will have to present enough evidence to say they can move forward with the case.
Hold on real quick. Oya, no, I did not catch the super chat before. I didn't. I'm sorry. What was it that you sent? I didn't see it, I swear. You just put it in a chat, like repost it, and I'll keep an eye out for it, okay? As we continue.
Now, David was charged with first-degree murder, continuous sexual abuse of a minor, mutilating human remains earlier this month after the LAPD stormed this ritzy Hollywood Hills home that he had been staying at and arrested him. He's pleaded not guilty to all the charges. But the 21-year-old singer was at the top of everyone's suspect list after Celeste's badly decomposed body was found in the trunk of a Tesla reportedly registered to him last September. And in that brief that I mentioned before, prosecutors also claim they had evidence from surveillance videos and other sources that allegedly showed David was the last person to drive that car on July 29th. This is about a month before Celeste's body was found. Now, that could leave open the possibility that someone else moved the car afterwards. We're not entirely sure. But last week, Los Angeles District Attorney Nathan Hochman said that David killed Celeste because she threatened to expose the fact that he had been sexually abusing her, which could have been devastating for his music career. I mean, David was reportedly dropped from his label. And the brief also contains more information about that alleged relationship, including the allegation that Celeste was apparently just 11 years old when the pair met and just 13 when they allegedly started this sexual relationship. And as for today, the singer was in court. He was clean-shaven, quiet in court this afternoon, saying just 2 words, "Yes, ma'am," when asked if he agreed to the new date. And that glow up is thanks to the efforts of his attorneys, who asked the judge if their client could get a haircut, some dress clothes ahead of court. The judge agreed to the haircut, said no to the new duds, which is why David was wearing an orange prison jumpsuit today. And we can expect to see him back in court May 12th for a status hearing. But joining me now to dive into all this, forensic death investigator from Jacksonville State University, Joseph Scott Morgan, the host of Body Bags, missing persons private investigator Steve Fisher, who's been on this story from the very beginning. Great to have you both here. Steve, I'm going to start with you. So everybody knows you were hired by the owner of the home that David was reportedly renting. You were hired to investigate. You talked about a chainsaw months ago. You talked about finding a chainsaw months ago. Your reaction to this, does this confirm everything that you couldn't actually reveal at the time? Talk to us about it.
Yeah, it confirms some of it. We didn't know everything. Let's be honest about that. But, we did find a chainsaw. We found a burn cage, and we knew that they were ordered in the name of this Victoria Mendez. And we disclosed that it was, in a fake name. And but we didn't know if that was a real person or not. However, all these things, and there was more things that were delivered to the house in that name, and we couldn't get past the chainsaw or the burn cage. Just there was no reasonable use to have it there, and now we find out that it does appear like they played a role.
Joseph, I don't know the better way to. I really don't know the best way to ask this, but can you explain what dismembering somebody with a chainsaw actually entails? Cutting.
Hold on, let me get this super chat or this chat. It was supposed to be a super chat. I appreciate. I think this is what Oya originally said. Okay, so I apologize. Some of the super chats kind of blaze by me sometimes. I apologize for that. But he unalive her during the busiest time of his album release and couldn't think in real time. I believe her spirit was lingering as she transitioned and made it uneasy for him, or made him uneasy. I think that too. I literally think that his conscience was really playing with him a lot, and I think he was like her soul. All right, her soul, her ghost is still lingering, and so that's why I'm saying like there's something here that I think he was tormented by. And that's why I'm thinking if she was moved, okay, if she was buried first or put in different areas, so on and so forth, I think that's what happened at first. And I think he was having dreams, maybe visions, whatever, thinking of what he had done to the point where he would go back and get her, unearth her and then put her in a freezer or something of that sort. But then maybe he was like, I can't keep her in the freezer because people are around too much and people are, I'm constantly getting nervous about them standing around this standalone freezer. You see what I'm saying? And somebody might open it up and try to get something out of it. Blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? And maybe he was like, F it, I got to put her somewhere. So I'm going to put her in the front trunk of this Tesla. Maybe that's what actually happened. You see what I'm saying? So maybe she wasn't frozen before she was dismantled, and maybe she was frozen after she was dismantled. You see what I'm saying? So we'll see what happens here. But this is just absolutely crazy.
Off someone's fingers, because we are now have to believe, according to prosecutors, if these allegations are true, that a 20-year-old did this.
Yeah, I can break it down for you very succinctly. The fact that the RPMs that a chainsaw generates, which are thousands, it moves at a very high clip. And with that, chainsaw has teeth on it. It's not teeth like a regular handsaw. I've had a couple of cases involving chainsaws over the course of my career. And I'll just put it to you this way, the deposition of tissue and blood, because with a regular handsaw, you would just you might get a little tissue, you're gonna have a lot of blood. This is going to sling actual tissue everywhere. And so the idea that this could be cleaned up completely, there's no way under God's green heaven that you're going to be able to clean up every bit of tissue deposition that's there. You might think you've gotten it, but once the cops get in there and they have enough time, they're going to collect. And that goes back to this idea that they've identified DNA. And they're
now, here's the thing. And, I appreciate Joseph Scott Morgan. Okay. He's a beast as well. Okay. So shout out to Joseph Scott Morgan. Be honored to have him on the show at some point in the future. Been trying to get him on for years. It just has never happened yet. Maybe one day it'll happen. We'll see. But nonetheless, then I would ask the same thing. And I'm sorry for asking and bringing up another case, but I would wonder about the same thing with Nancy Guthrie. You remember they were doing all kinds of stuff. They were cutting out walls and cutting out pieces of evidence, so on and so forth, inside and outside the house as well. And we have come up with nothing. Or they have come up with nothing, right? They have found all kinds of different types of traces of DNA, and we're still kind of at a standstill, right? So I'm curious about that. And I know this one's a little bit more straightforward, for lack of a better term, in comparison to Nancy Guthrie's case. But what's up with that, right? Let's continue, though.
They're saying that it is her DNA.
And coupled with the pieces from the pool, right? The pool mat that allegedly he used to wrap her up?
Well, yeah, and they're talking about a kiddie pool that was there that facilitated this. And if you read that TMZ bit that they had,
crazy.
They're talking about he used this to guard the flow of blood. So, yeah, and if it is blue, they've got plastic embedded into these insults onto her body. And so it would be a matter of the criminalists, which also has indicated that they're examining these pieces. They've been able to tie back these fragments, which is very powerful stuff.
Steve, so much was made about this alleged relationship. The brief says that Celeste was 11 years old when they first met, 13 years old when this sexual relationship began, that there was text messages between the two talking about Plan B, pregnancy, naked photos of Celeste, of her engaging in sexual activity. Is this in line with what you found?
Yeah, it is. And, it's so sad. I mean, this girl, she'd been a teenager for 1 year, and it's so hard to get past, like, how he could do how anybody could do this to anybody and ruin their life. But, I want to say something real quick, because I was going to call Joseph off the show too before. We're really confused about this, what happened to this tissue and this blood matter from the chainsaw, because they make it sound like there was trace amounts found, and they didn't really turn the house into a crime scene. They didn't hold it long when they did the search warrant. So it's really confusing. It seems like a chainsaw would have absolutely created a horrific scene. But they don't speak about that. Well, so I still feel like there's a piece we're not getting.
Hold on, real quick. We got a super chat, so let me grab that real quick. I think he had plans to flee the USA before they found the body, in my opinion, via his interview where he talked about disappearing and going off the grid. He may have done that. May have been part of the plan, but he didn't leave. Did you notice? He never left. He stuck around. He didn't flee the country or anything of that sort, even after the fact. Why? I think he was too busy trying to see how things were going to start, how things were cooking, how his career was starting to catapult, right? Angelina, thank you so much for the super chat. Wasn't there a scene in his video of her ghost on the wall? I think there is a music video or a scene in his music videos depicting all of this for sure. That's why I think that they're going to be using a lot of this in his trial, his music videos, etc. All the imagery and all that, right?
Talk about a piece we're not getting to this. We've always wondered if the allegations are true, did he have help? The brief claim that David was the last to drive the Tesla in late July before Celeste's body was found, it didn't confirm, as far as I read, that doesn't mean someone else may have moved it. You tell me if I'm looking at it the wrong way. And then also they made the allegation that David lied to people about the smell in the trunk. So it seemed when I was reading this, it kind of moved away from the idea of him working with anyone else.
I mean, I guess it depends on the way you read it. I still go back to the DA's statement that they're not taking off the table. Other people can still be charged in this thing. I do think there was help. As far as the Tesla goes, the surveillance we have, I've always said that they probably have more surveillance than us. Surveillance we have, I do not believe that that's David is a light-skinned, long-haired person driving the car. I don't know what they have after that time.
Interesting. The last person that he saw was a light-skinned individual, and if I remember correctly, he did post this on X that we're going to show here in a second. That it was a light-skinned individual driving the car wearing a red jersey of some sort.
If David went to the car or something,
or if they knew what was in the car, because look, that's another part. They talk about the body being in the car for quite some time. I still think it's a little confusing about where the remains were when they were transported to the car. I mean, do you have a better idea?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think he stored them in the car. We heard from neighbors that the car started moving around the neighborhood starting in May. But listen, it was nearby, and it was listen, I'm in search and rescue. I've dealt with a lot of deceased bodies. There's a very distinct smell that, especially if it was in the garage for a while. And that's where the other Tesla was being parked. It was going in and out of it. It was not being parked on the street. And they had like an arcade set up down there. I don't know how these people didn't know.
Look, this is an important day, right? I mean, it wasn't a preliminary hearing, but this document, 9 pages, provided so much information that we were all waiting for. We will see what happens next. Steve Fisher.
I mean, this is, again, the fact that, and I agree, like, you have all these people in and out of the house, like, it's a revolving door of all these young kids, young friends. He's young, they're all having a great time. They're all kicking it still, so on and so forth. But it's like, it's just weird, right? To Boosie, thank you so much for the love. If you could take a look at my previous messages in chat for David's interest breakdown and how it relates. Sakura Fingers and yes, we already talked about that in another show. With the Strategic Eyes breakdown and all that. So we already did that already, which obviously is still wild. Just a connection between those two. Him creating some sort of, which is insane to me, by the way. You got, him creating this alter ego named Itami, and then he's literally mimicking and copying off of a popular anime and manga series called MPD Psycho, which is insane, about a serial killer or a detective that's chasing after a serial killer who happens to be his alter ego. Yeah, like a split personality type of situation. So now you got this situation. He's created Itami. He's D4vd. He took off the two fingers on her left hand, like in the comic books. Her left eye is missing, like in the comic books. She is dismantled. She is separated, just like in the comic books. It's absolutely insane. Okay, so we did watch that and check that out. And of course, Strategic Eyes did a live about that as well. So I highly recommend you guys go check that out too. But it is pretty insane what they're saying about that too. But let me get a few more things here really quick. Again, like I said, this is just all very, very bad for him. Very bad. He is so massively screwed. I don't think you realize how massively screwed this man is. I'm sorry. If he's going to sit there and try to fight this, then he's insane. That's basically it. That's basically it. He is absolutely insane. If he's just going to sit here and go, well, we're just going to fight it. Okay, we'll see about that, bruh. We'll see about that. Let's take a look at this. This is what I was telling you about. SF Investigates did also post this. He said, now that the prosecution has released a briefing for the preliminary hearing in the D4vd case, we are releasing the surveillance footage of the Tesla being moved on July 29th. The driver happens to be light-skinned with long hair wearing a red jersey. Now, some of y'all are like, could that be Neo? I don't think that's Neo. It says long hair. Maybe it's another girl. Maybe another girl that he manipulated into moving his car. Take a look. I don't know how you can make out this, but I see it looks like a red hoodie. It looks like a red hoodie and a person with long hair. Longer hair than Neo. At least in the haircut style that we see of Neo. This is significantly longer. Could this be a girl? Could this be another dude? We don't know. One thing is for sure, somebody else moved that car too. Now that person, just to say this, okay, just to look at both sides of the fence, this person could have been working in cahoots with D4vd, or D4vd manipulated them into moving the car for him. Like, hey man, you mind just moving the car for me real quick? You mind just moving the ride real quick? Yeah. Just pull it out of here and just put it over there. You know what I mean? Just do that for me really quick. Yeah, all right, bet. No problem. Notice the window being open. Take a look at this again. Notice the window cracked open. Bang. Hold on. Notice the window cracked open? Why do you think that window's cracked open? Because it smells. Windows cracked open, y'all. And no, it's not because he was like, ooh, it's such a nice day. And I just love me some California air. Nope. I have a feeling it's because the car stinks. The car has a really bad smell. So, of course, he's opening up the car or the window so he can get some air. Or, yeah, shorty, it could also be because it's hot. But I know a lot of people that'll just be like, I'll endure it. Just crank up the AC. When the AC gets warmed up, we'll be fine. Right? So, a multitude of different things could be happening at the same time. That person could be driving the car and have no earthly clue what is going on. Okay? They may have no earthly clue what is going on. Just so you know. But one thing is for sure, a lot of things are very telling in what he ended up doing, right? What prosecution was able to paint and able to piece together is pretty amazing. Now, are they 100% accurate? I don't know. Probably not. Maybe not 110% accurate, but they for damn sure are pretty close. Here's another thing too. This is interesting, which is weird. It's a very short clip, but I want to show this to y'all as well. Old footage has resurfaced of D4vd's producer confronting him about Celeste. And it's at the very end of this clip. But he says, are you still dating that minor? Who says that out loud? What producer actually says that out loud? Take a listen.
Ryan, is it Whitaker?
If it's fucking Farm Boy, I'll beat the shit out of
freak out.
Are you still dating that minor?
You heard that right?
Are
you still dating that minor?
Yeah. So there's that as well. Like I said, people knew. People knew. People freaking knew. A lot of people knew in his wheelhouse. A lot of people knew in his corner. They all knew what was going on. Okay? They all knew what was going on, guys. I just, like I said, this is what's so heartbreaking about this case is that, and I keep saying this over and over again, I know, but this child did not have a fighting chance. Because apparently there was other things going on before she even met D4vd as well. With the likes of that guy, Gus, if I'm correct. Allegedly, there was a relationship there too. When she was 10. So again, and there's a lot of, there's a lot of like speculation. There's a lot of word on the street type stuff. But this is what's so sad about this situation. The more you start to hear this information, the more you realize that this child did not have a fighting chance. Didn't at all. And I get it. You may be an old soul, more mature than your age, so on and so forth. But that still doesn't justify the fact of you going out there or allowing your child with that type of demeanor to be running around with older individuals. Still, no matter what, there's no chance. There's no chance, like under my watch, and I'm sure a lot of y'all out here, all you parents out there under your watch, that you would let your child in any way, shape, or form do any of this. I don't know. Like I said, it's tough. Like, when we talk about these things, it's like, it's tough to be a parent, right? It's tough being a parent. I get it. It's tough. It's not easy. All right. Even for those y'all who aren't parents and whatever, you've been a kid, so you can look on the outside looking in and go, yeah, my parents, I gave my parents a hard time, blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? So I get it. Child rearing is really tough. And it can be really, really tough when you have a child that is maybe wild or is just hard to handle, or they just think they know everything, just very defiant, very stubborn, thick-headed. I get that. But when do you come to the point where you say, all right, we just got to let her go? Now, I understand, like, there's certain things that, in my mind instantly, it's like, no, that would be considered like, CPS would be called upon a parent if they were to do any of the things I'm thinking in my head. You know what I mean? It's like, lock them up. They're not allowed to leave the house. Lock them up for good. You can't do that, right? So in this kind of situation, think about it. What would you do? What do you do when you have a child that is continually running away from you? Running away from your home and going to this guy. Well, one, I would call cops on the guy. That's instantly what I would do. Without question, I'm calling cops on D4vd. I don't give a damn. I'm going, hey, you know what? No, you know exactly who this child is. This child is. Instantly, I'm calling cops. Instantly. Without question. I'm not sitting there going, well, she keeps running away. I don't know what to do. No, I'm calling cops. I'm trying to find a way to put pressure, to put charges on the dude, a restraining order of some sort. I don't know anything I could possibly do to make sure that this man goes nowhere near my child. Right? Now, we don't know the full scope of what the family did to try to prevent her from going out there to see him. We don't know, right? I don't know. right? But there's something about this that you just wonder, what would you do? Then you know, like I said, you look at the parents, you say, okay, they take her phone away. Cool. All right, that's something. But she could still walk out the house and run away. She was a habitual runaway. She ran away 11 times over the course of a very short while. And she kept running back to him over and over and over again. First off, I'm calling 5-0. That's without question. I'm pressing charges on his ass. And I'm going to make sure that she can't go anywhere near him, but she'll still try to find a way. If she's that enamored, that obsessed with him, right? But I'm not just going to go and do one blanketed, missing persons report and just let it be. Like I said, we don't know the full scope of what the parents did or how they did it or why they proceeded in the way that they did. But there is something about this that seems a little bit odd. It does feel like they didn't go further, but we don't know the full scope. Like I said, we don't know the full scope, but there is a part of it that feels like they didn't fully try. Because I'm telling you right now, if that was my child, that kid would not like me. D4vd would not like me at all. Not at all. And if it's going to be a thing, I mean, I don't know. I would go to great lengths to make sure. If Celeste was my child, go great lengths to make sure that that child would go nowhere near the likes of D4vd, like ever again. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that I'd be like, no, I'm not saying that. But I would try everything in my power legally to make sure there's no way. Scare him off legally. Something. Because it just doesn't make any sense. I'm still trying to wrap my mind around it. Like I said, this child did not have a fighting chance. Let's talk about this whole fact that she could have been, in the likes of London, for crying out loud. We've already talked about that. Pretty insane information that she was flying around in different areas, different locations. The likes of Vegas, London, and Texas. Parents didn't know it all. I mean, especially going to Vegas and going to Texas, that's one thing. You're not getting checked. There's no checkpoints at state lines, right? But London, though, her getting in a plane and flying out to London. Parents didn't know. Here's the thing. If she had a fake, first off, he was taking a minor not only just across state lines, but internationally. But if he also got a fake passport, then that's also an issue here. He's getting fake government papers, right? That's a problem if that's the case. Or the parents already knew and they gave David the thumbs up to take her overseas. It's not like they were hiding her in luggage. She had to be held, she had to be made accounted for going into a different country. So the parents have to explain something here. They most definitely do. Because like I said, the timeline seems weird. In February, law enforcement contacted, February of 2024, law enforcement contacted D4vd saying, hey, man, we know you have Celeste. Parents already been known about that. This is not like they just found out now. Oh my gosh, she was running around with David this entire time? No. They knew right then and there. You don't think that law enforcement wasn't responding or weren't in close contact with the terrified, grieving, and anxious parents trying to find out where their 13-year-old daughter was? Of course they're letting them know exactly what's going on in their investigation. We found out where she is. She's with a guy named David Burke. He also goes by D4vd. We're about to go over to his home in the Hollywood Hills to see what's going on, see if there's a possible connection to her disappearance and this guy. Her phone called his number. It was the last phone call she made on her phone in these phone records. You don't think that they're having full-on conversations with police, with the parents, and letting the parents know what the F is going on? And that could very well be the first time they were ever introduced to the likes of D4vd. And that's fine. But they didn't do anything about it except take her phone. Then she got a burner phone, so that she can have basically like a bat phone directly connected to D4vd. And I'm sure she hid that. But she kept running away, guys, during that entire time. Okay? So again, weird. Hold on. Tabusi, thank you so much for the love. What if they lied? Hold on. What if they lied and had to, what if they were lied to and told they were trying to sign her or something? That's exactly what I said the other day, okay? She did go back and forth for months. A theory, not an excuse. Now, yes, absolutely. It's a theory, not an excuse. Absolutely. One of the thoughts I thought in the very beginning was he turned to the parents and said, she really has something and I want to manage her. We're going to turn your daughter into a star. Celeste is about to be something. Doing a Diddy thing. Like, I'm trying to build my team. I can, manage them, produce them, all that. That is still a possibility. And maybe they were paying her, or that he was paying the parents for, supporting her. Thank you so much. She's my artist. She's my employee. She's now under my label, or whatever the hell he was calling it, and gave the parents money for having her under his wing. Maybe. Yeah, like a Justin Bieber type of thing, right? They're like, he's like, oh, her demeanor's amazing. I love her attitude, blah, blah, blah. She's going to be the next big thing with my label. And, I'm about to blow up. So just trust me when I say she's got some serious talent. She's got that it factor. We're going to make her a superstar. But the fact that she still was able, still doesn't change anything. Because in April of 2025, she was still 2024, she was still reported missing. And they still were going back and forth. Now, Anonymous, just so you know, Justin Bieber, I think they gave, Diddy, if I'm correct, or Usher became his guardian, if I'm correct. So that's why he was able to travel. Also, Mama went on a lot of those trips with Justin Bieber when he was like 5, when he was just a kid. She was on a lot of those trips. And I think eventually it was Usher or Diddy became his legal guardian, because I guess she couldn't just be flying back and forth all the time. So being able to take him overseas and everything, that's a different story, because, it was Usher. Yeah. So he had custody. Usher had custody over Justin. You see what I'm saying? So that's why they were able to do those things with Justin Bieber and fly all over the world. Okay? So, but this is different. Celeste was not Justin Bieber. I have not heard anything about her aspiring to become a musical artist or anything of that sort. That would be a surprise to me. Wouldn't it be a surprise to you? Word, she raps? Oh, I didn't know. Word, she's a musician? I didn't even know. That's not the case I saw. That's not what I've heard thus far. She was just somebody who was in love with D4vd. But he may have been using that as an excuse to get on the parents' side, on their good side, maybe. But still, no matter what, she kept running away and was going over to D4vd's home. And they still reported her missing in April of 2024. If they believe that she was, if David sold them on she's going to be the next big thing, they would have called into the police and said, we found her, she's okay, blah, blah, blah. And that they would have said that she's found, and this missing filing, this missing report would have been done. It would have been off the record. But that's not the case here. She was missing until her body was found. So over a year or so later, that's when her body was found. When her body was found, she wasn't missing anymore. Ain't that crazy? So like I said, something about the parents doesn't make any sense. But you got the family knowing about him from the very, very beginning. She gets dropped back at home. They said, no more cell phone for you. We don't trust it anymore. We don't like you running around with these people that we don't know anything about, especially this D4vd character. We're taking your phone. He goes out of his way to pay another person in her school to give her a burner phone so that he can be in contact with her. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it starts their relationship. And he's able to go and take her to other places in the world. How does that happen? Especially when this is a missing child. Here's the other thing too, though. This is a big problem with our system. On her way out, as she's going to London, or on her way back into America, as she's landing, wouldn't they be going, wait a second, your name is Celeste Rivas Hernandez. You're missing. You've been reported missing. You've been missing for a while now. What happened? We need to, young lady, you need to come here with us. Why wasn't there any type of like, yo, some weird stuff is going on here. Who are you, young man? And why are you with this missing girl? Did you take her? And why are you flying in from a whole other country? Wait, in fact, where are her parents at? She's 13. 14 years old, 13, 14 years old. Where's she at? Where are her parents at? Where's her legal guardian? Because you for damn show ain't it. So where is that? You see what I'm saying? So again, this is so strange. Weird info. Truly, I truly believe or feel in personally that the parents knew. And maybe it was more of maybe there wasn't any transaction financially. Maybe they just didn't know how to control their daughter. And I don't mean that in any condescending or demeaning way. Just that they just didn't know how to handle their daughter, who thinks that she's 25 years old, trying to act like she's a grown woman when she isn't grown. She may be doing grown activities, but she ain't even grown. You see what I'm saying? It's a damn shame, y'all. It's a damn shame. All right, guys. Well, I'm just looking to see if there's any more updates. There aren't any, but not in the David stuff. There's plenty of stuff going on politically and, of course, going on in other realms of the world. But I think I'm just going to end the show for right now. But again, I really do think the parents have some explaining to do. They really do. I just so weird. You can't fly to another country if you're a minor, without having some sort of parental, consent. So something has to be explained. And we already talked about like flying private and all that. I mean, unless she had a really good fake, I just find that a little bit strange. How would he have access to really good fakes like that? He ain't James Bond. He ain't Jason Bourne. And he for damn show ain't Ethan Hunt. So how is he able to get all that if it's a fake? The parents had something to do with it. Do the reverse math. So something weird about this, y'all. Parents have something to do with this. They have to explain themselves at some point to law enforcement. If law enforcement is even going down that route, I'm sure they will at some point. But like I said, they failed this child. Everyone failed this child. And she may have been troubled from when she was very, very young. And I get that. But at the same time, it's like I wish more was done for her to help her. So this did not have to go the way it went down, right? We'll see though, guys. This is pretty insane. Pretty insane. Anyway, guys, that is the show. I appreciate all y'all for being here. It really means a lot. Thank you so much for spending some time with me. Again, this is just crazy, but hopefully we get some more information and some more truth here in the near future. We'll see. Plenty more stories and cases to talk about. We're going to be talking about all of them and then some. And if there's any updates on this D4vd situation, we will be talking about it. Trust and believe, okay? But before we head out, please do me a solid. Hit that like button down below. Crush it, do it to do. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on these other platforms. If you are on these other platforms, make sure you hit that follow button. Follow. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, please and thank you. Go on over to my second channel, The Pascal Show Clips. Subscribe over there as well. That would be amazing. All right. Thank you so much for all the super chats, all you new members, etc. I really do appreciate you guys being a part of the show. Hit that notification bell, set it to all so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload. Hit that join button down below, become a member. Check out my Patreon, which is in that ticker going slow as hell across the screen. And of course, check out PascalMerch.com. We got some really great stuff over there, so go check it out, okay? Anyway, guys, it is time to get going. Much love to you guys. See you guys soon. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. This is The Pascal Show. Bye.